All right, now we're good. So I will call the meeting to order, 5:07. And nice to see everyone. Hopefully you have been having a great month. We have a guest. Is there any public comment from our guest?
He might get hungry.
Okay,
I will step out if he does.
all right, very good.
He's very good.
Okay. Are there any modifications to the agenda? All right, now we will move on to approval of the April minutes. Is there a way we can make room at the table for at least two more people? Yeah, right up and where over there. So for the minutes, I just made the comment that. Oh, two things. One is under number 6. Under the zoning section, there's a statement starting, Michael Kodransky, Kingston resident with planning experience, also made comments. I would just maybe say had also made comments or something, so like.
You can make them to us.
You can make them to us, right.
Maybe I should put, so there's some laws and rules, I think, laws and rules. Okay, I'll change that.
And then the other one is under new business, there's an UPRA statement, like 8 lines down.
Tiffin project?
Yeah, I think there might be an unfinished question, because it says, TIFA project will help raise awareness regarding lessening single-use containers through, and then is that like a through something else, or that through like colon?
No, I'm one of those people who, the New Yorker school of editorial, never enough commas.
Okay, got it.
That's all that is.
Okay, are there any other?
So I can take the comma out,
Okay.
so it reads better.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, issues? Not, we need a motion to accept the April minutes as amended. So moved. Karen, is there a second? Becky? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? All right.
Okay,
Melissa, you good with? Yes, you see your hand.
we'll make those changes.
Thank you. All right, so we will move on to refrigerants. I don't have any updates. There have been no movement from the state. I'm still in contract negotiations, so there's nothing else to be done on refrigerants, but I will say that at the Earth Fair, we brought in 18 refrigerants, which is excellent, really, really good. Because last year we brought in a dozen, I believe we brought in 12.
Yeah.
So this is a lot more, which is great. And so that is very exciting. I don't know, if you had any feedback on that, people, you were at that booth most of the time.
Yeah, I started in the morning. I had fun organizing them in the truck so they could all fit. But yeah,
No refrigerators though.
no refrigerators.
Yeah.
Mostly air conditioners.
Yeah.
People knew where to go, which I was surprised at. They knew
They came with them and with them.
with them and I let them carry it.
Could you tell if they worked? Not that it matters.
Right. They were all in the old condition, so if they worked, they were well used. So, they could have mold inside of it. None of them were new.
Okay,
They were all, well used.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that is fantastic. So that's what we wanted to do, increase the numbers, and we did. And it's great to know that people came for that. Did anyone stop by and say like, oh, I didn't know you could do this?
Yes, yeah, that was regarding a TV, not an air conditioner.
Okay,
And they said they'd come back in the afternoon and bring us their tea.
Sure,
I don't know if they did or not.
So that's where we are with Richards. I don't really have anything else to add, except that as when I know more with the grant, I will let people know what else we need, but for now, we're just keep chugging along. The Earth Fair will be paying DPW for now for those refrigerants. So that invoice didn't include the Earth Fair account. Any update on Repair Cafe?
Yes, hi. So the next cafe, is June 17th, 11 to 3 at Clinton United Methodist Church. We haven't been there in a lot of years. We were gonna have one, in the winter, and then there was a snowstorm, so we canceled, so they're excited to have us back. There's also, that day is the 10th anniversary celebration for Repair Cafe. So there's gonna be, after the Kingston Cafe, a celebration at Forsyth Park. And there's gonna be coaches and volunteers from across the Hudson Valley attending. So I forwarded an invite to the Climate Smart Kingston Commission just before the meeting. So if anybody wanted to come, y'all are welcome. I think it's also a potluck, so you can sign up for a dish. But I think it starts at 3:30 at Forsyth. And Susie Frommer, the Repair Cafe Hudson Valley coordinator, is going to be organizing that.
That's a Saturday?
Yes, it's a Saturday. Annoyingly, both things are at the same day as the Juneteenth celebration in Kingston. And so I'm going to have flyers out at our table to hopefully have people to go to that after the Repair Cafe. But yeah.
Great. Did y'all reserve, just putting my Parks and Rec hat on, did you all reserve the park?
I have to ask. I don't know. I told Susie though she needed to. So
Yeah, because if you didn't, somebody else would sure did. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would just check into that to make sure everything's set.
okay. Yeah.
Cool.
And at the Clinton United Methodist Church, I'm working on getting music, some live performers, but they'll be indoors, so we won't need a music permit this time.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anything else on Repair Cafe? So outreach, education, youth engagement, we'll do some Earth Fair follow-up. Thank you, everyone, to everyone who helped out, which is nearly everyone, not everyone in some way. I'd love to just, to go around and do a quick, like, what you thought, how you thought it went, and also how we can improve next year. I will just start with, we are having it there again next year. Which is maybe okay, but maybe not. It was a lot of work. From a planning perspective, it was like 10 times the amount of work as a normal Earth Fair. But from a success perspective, it was like 10 times the success in my opinion. So, but let's go around and just feedback on it, things we could improve, maybe anything you want to just share with the group. If you were there, if you were participated in at all, in any way, shape or form.
Moved a lot of water bottles.
Did you have any issues with the water bottles?
No, other than people not taking the paper out.
Yeah.
The only suggestion I make is just make a City of Kingston, like, no year on it, and then you can keep it around for next year. So
What time?
they all said 2023.
Yeah.
It's pretty true.
Did anyone give you a hard time about it being plastic?
No, 0 hard times.
That's good. Give me a hard time.
I did wonder about that when I saw the plastic water bottles. It did occur to me, but that doesn't mean the life cycle impact isn't still positive.
Melissa, you have something?
I chose the partially recycled bottles made from like post-consumer materials. They weren't like, I don't know what that means, but it was the greener option on the website. So I just want everyone to know that.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it. I'm putting it out there. I just had 1 or 2 people say, I can't believe you're giving out plastic bottles in their fair. You should be having it metal. The cost difference would be a little bit different, but, and I said to myself, then don't take a bottle. So, but, either way, just from the bottle perspective, and I was manning one of the bottle stations the whole day. I'm sure it was the fact that it was like a brutally hot sunny day, but the world was overly grateful. Like overly, like the gratitude was extremely high for folks from the water bottles. And I think that people that took them wanted them, and people didn't want them or didn't like the concept, wouldn't take one, so.
Yeah.
All right, anything else from your perspective?
Oh, went pretty smoothly. At least from my point of view.
I was really happy with how the event went. I think it was awesome. I think it was like a big success and it was really impressive, especially comparing it to, last year at Forsyth, which is a lot smaller. I did send out a vendor feedback survey afterwards and I got responses from about a quarter of the vendors, which is good.
Wow.
Generally, the only issue was parking, which was foreseeable. I think we all knew that was gonna be an issue, and I don't know how we're gonna improve that next year, but hopefully we can. And then I did ask the question about the timing of the event, if people thought it was too long or too short. About half the people were happy with the timing of the event, and the other half of the people thought it could have been shortened. Nobody wanted it to go longer. So that's our vendor feedback. Everybody who filled out the survey said that they enjoyed the event, gave it either 4 or 5 out of 5 stars or 5 clicks, whatever, and all want to return next year. So overall, extremely positive feedback. Parking obviously is a difficult thing to manage down there, so, but yeah, it's great, loved it.
Thanks.
I think the only piece of, I filled out the vendor form, and the only thing I remember I put in was that, I was by the Maritime Museum, which was, I think, a packed dirt parking lot, right next to the water, and I brought weights for the tent, and nobody else had weights for their tent, which is super dangerous, so I would say next year, just put it in the requirements for all vendors, that they have to have stakes and or weights for their tents. Cause it's an insurance risk for you, but it's also just like dangerous. And it wasn't that windy that day, so I think it was fine, but I have seen someone get hit in the face with one of those. It was Adam D and he got hit in the face with one of those tents.
We've had them roll over at one of the first kayak festivals, we used to do a kayak festival at the point. One of the first ones, we had a tent roll over the seawall, over onto somebody's car. At a fall festival at the nature center several years ago, we had a tent roll over onto someone's head. I had to call 911.
Yeah.
So definitely important to stake your tents.
Yes, absolutely. So, and because if like in Forsyth, you can stake them because it's grass, this parking lot was packed, there wasn't a way to stake it, so it would have to be weights. So just require it in the vendor form, and when people inevitably show up without them, maybe have a couple.
Okay.
But the event was really good. I was there for half the day. Setup was super simple. There were not enough people directing, like, go over here, go over there. I thought that it was really well staffed. My mom came down to visit because it was Mother's Day weekend, so I worked the morning and then tagged out. And she and I saw some of the music. She had a great time. She got to go on Solaris. So my mom gives it a 5 out of 5. I give it a 5 out of 5. I had a good experience. I think that's it for me. The food was good.
Great. To cut back to the setup, I did want to make a note, because I did a wrap up at the CAC also, and there was a note there, that we should put in, I mean, this wasn't the instruction, but for the folks that are in the Maritime Museum lot, to make it explicit that they're just getting a plot on the ground. Which I thought was pretty explicit, but,
What
What was the alternative?
yeah,
What did people think they were getting that wasn't that?
possibly a tent table setup. I think you were explicit there.
I think it was clear.
There was also an expression that this person didn't get free information about how to park and where to park, so the check-in wasn't clear. So I will follow up with you separately about it.
yes, okay.
Which vendor was it?
It was the CAC.
Oh, interesting.
Sometimes my emails get lost exiting the city servers, so.
So Greg, we're doing wrap up if you want to, from the Earth Fair.
First fair,
Any kind of feedback you want to give?
might be written down in here. Give me a minute.
Okay, we'll support. I know you got your flag on. Bella, any feedback from the Earth Fair at all, any part of it, anything you want to just contribute about it?
I mean, I hear it was an amazing success, so I'm so sorry I missed it. I had a childhood friend's baby shower in Connecticut that I felt like I really was obligated to go to, but I was so sorry to miss it. It sounds amazing, and I just, congratulate everyone who worked so hard on it, and so happy that it was such a success.
Kaya?
Part of my job at Bar is event planning, so when I got there at 9:00, I was really impressed with how everything was set up and how calm you guys were. Like, you expressed yourself, I thought it was great, I was really impressed, I thought, like if I were there to enjoy it, I would have no complaints, like, everything felt seamless, everything was, it was great. I will say that through running the e-waste site, I was also helping handicapped people find parking. Kind of, I don't know how that happened, but it did happen. So there was no handicap parking, which was a huge issue. And Clearwater ended up taking a bunch of empty spots that were reserved for them that would have been great for handicapped. So I don't know what that was about. Next year, hopefully maybe see designated handicap parking.
I think that there is some at the bottom of Broadway.
There is, but they were occupied.
Um,
And I went and I looked and they were not, none of them had handicap signage on the cars.
I see.
So maybe we need Earth Fair designated handicap.
How many do you think we should
If
have?
they didn't have handicap tags.
Could
Yeah, 5?
5 more or 5 total?
Well, I'm like, working on the assumption that what's already in place is gonna be 5 total, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. And, the signs for the booths, maybe those could be evergreen as well, and we can just print them on hard cardboard or hard cardstock, laminated, and use it every single year. Because the paper signs, we're also just getting blown around, put it up as garbage, probably went into water. So the signage was a little bit of an issue for the booths, for like, so for example, like my e-waste booth, just had paper signs. And yeah. And the signs reserving spots, also I saw them flying around the park, things like that, so.
Thanks.
Those are my suggestions, but it was awesome. And then I stuck around and enjoyed the band, quick and played. It was fun.
Which group is your work on?
He was the pianist for the band.
By the way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's
Great. Karen, do you have anything?
It was great. I think it was a little long. And it was hard to have conversations with people with the music so loud in that particular spot, the upper gallery. Other than that, it was a great day.
Same.
I also really enjoyed it. I was at the zero waste station right at the roundabout, just as you come down the hill. And I felt like our little station, because we had Orange Fest and we were right down there, we kind of saw us first, and so we also turned into a general information booth as well. And
yeah.
we had similar situations, so I got a lot of like, do you know where I can go to do this? Where is this element? Where's that element? And so I think having a person right there in a yellow vest that was a general information person, because I kind of tagged in as a volunteer, there were a lot of questions I just didn't know the answer to, and so I kind of felt a little deer in headlights. If you took somebody that was more knowledgeable than myself and just put them there, it could probably be a great resource to help alleviate some of the kookiness. Also, standing there, I had a good purview of what people were doing and saw a lot of engagement with the hands-on stuff, like goat petting, like the little merry-go-round for children. People were loving that hands-on stuff. And so we got more vendors that had more of this really engaging kind of 4-H style hands-on things. It really, you saw people light up, you saw the lines forming at the goats. So those types of vendors, if you didn't call them vendors, they were the sweet spot. I think so if we could double down on that, we'd amplify the happy factor.
Do you feel like where you were was the flow where most people were coming to the event?
By car, for sure. Had a lot of conversations with people out their passenger side window. They would kind of pull up and like whip around and be like, hey, these roads are closed, right? And I'd be like, yes, and they'd be like, then what does that mean for how I get here? Or how long are they gonna be closed for? Or what kind of event is this? You know, so I did a lot of like car to passenger communication.
Do you think that there would be a role for two things? One, there's a suggestion from someone, so we have as a municipality, we have really, really hardcore barricades that are like can't be moved at all by people, can only be put by vehicle. One, for safety reasons, like if we think that people are gonna come careening down, whatever, like there's no barricades there for sure, so that was one thing. That's one suggestion from someone else, but would it have been valuable to have a police officer there?
We had a cop, we had 2 police officers for a little while, and then the firefighters also stashed out there that bring a similar level of official feels to them, and that was good. Yeah, I think having
People
a
were going
police
to them as
officer,
well?
they were, yeah, and so I think a police officer would be good, but I think even more so than a police officer, people just want information, so I feel like the yellow vest person that just knows what the heck is happening would be a really great resource to have stationed there. And the barricades are cool. I don't think they're a must-have, but they're not a must-have until you need them, so
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing to have.
Great, thanks. Kevin, you weren't able to make it,
No.
but any other feedback you have?
Well, yeah, just, I spoke to Ted right after, right? Ted's on the CAC and I'm the Kingston Land Trust with me. And well, I think he was sort of running around from one booth to the next, from the CAC booth and then over to the Land Trust, back and forth. I don't think he made it to Climate Smart, and you may have seen him. But yeah, I had an emergency, we were just going us. But all's well that ended well.
Okay, great. Thanks. Melissa, did you want to add anything?
I think I gave some feedback at our debrief meeting, but I'll just highlight some things. I think we talked about the maps and just making sure that the maps are near the information booths and a little bit more clearer on where everything's located. Better transition to the maritime yard. I also talked to some friends since our debrief, and they were saying that they didn't know the event kept going and they thought they were separate. So they didn't visit the maritime yard and all the educational stuff in there. For the bottles, I definitely think we should order more next year if we're gonna have it there, because we ran out a little earlier. Prioritizing the vegan food vendors and having them in the front of the food space so that people could walk to the vegan folks first and then the meat folks. Clear understanding of, I guess, who's doing what. Like Live Well had games and activities, and then we also had kids activities at the kids station, and so it's just a lot going on in the same area. So maybe strategizing that a bit more. And then photography is something I forgot at the debrief, but having like a set photographer who can go around and take pictures and videos for afterwards, because I did last year, but I totally spaced out and didn't take any pictures of the kids' activities, which was a popular spot. And then I did have a question, and I wanted to know if we have those magnets out or the brochures of like, where do I, and do people take those?
We had them out at the two, I know, did you have them at your booth? The magnets and then the reduce, reuse, recycle brochures, the climate smart brochures? I gave them to you.
Put them out.
Yeah, we had them at the two climate smart booths.
Okay, great. I didn't know if like how that went. Did people actually take that stuff or like?
Oh, yeah, I mean, at least the upper Gallup one, people were taking tons of stuff, more than I expected.
I have a magnet on my fridge now.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
I feel sad that
There are more. Do you have bills that you need to submit for?
Yes, I do. I'm gonna try to do that this week.
All right, awesome. Well, I can't express my gratitude enough to everyone. Particularly Ellie, who put in the line share of the work. Great work, everyone. And before we know it, we'll be planning next year's. So, see you again.
You good break.
And the feedback from Radio Kingston and Clearwater was 100%. They loved it. They have already committed Clearwater's, or Radio Kingston's committed to giving us the same amount of money again as this year, which is unbelievable. Clearwater's committed to doing it again, and we're not gonna be able to do the Forsyth again for these dates, so it's happening again, it's just a matter of what date.
So the Maritime Museum, is that good?
You know, I didn't follow up with the Maritime Museum. I would like to follow up with them also, and I wanna see how the other event went
I'm
also.
curious, yeah.
I think they were closed.
The museum itself, no, I went in.
Yeah.
I went in, yeah, no, they were open. I don't think they were full out, like they have certain hours they're open, I don't think they stayed open late for it or opened early for it, I think they were open for their usual hours.
Yeah, I didn't need to follow up with them, because I don't know how the Solaris went, I don't know how any of that went,
Solaris rides, I was across from the Solaris rides and they seemed to be like really smooth.
okay.
All of the rides I think were full, but there wasn't like, I didn't see anybody like getting upset about it or anything. So I think they had steady, full rides on the Solaris all day.
Oh, good.
especially the top.
They were very well organized, you know,
Yeah.
setting up the
Very organized.
times that you wanted to be on and times that it would be back.
Oh, good,
They were very well.
oh, nice.
I knew a few different people who went on.
My
Like,
grandson.
oh, I have to go, yeah, right, exactly, so you go back, you're like, I'm getting the boat ride straight now, but.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, no, I knew several people who took rides and had a really nice time.
Oh, good. Melissa?
Oh, I just wanted to add at our debrief meeting that we came up with the guesstimate numbers that we were gonna tell people of
Oh,
how
yeah.
many people attended. I think it was 3,000, right?
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That's
A
awesome.
lot of people.
I mean, just thinking about, we gave out 500 water bottles, right?
Oh, wow.
And if we think about fewer than 1 in 6 people probably got a water bottle,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so we estimate at least at 3,000, just amazing,
That's
Yeah.
stellar.
just really.
10%?
Yeah, I think the location is just very attractive.
Yeah, I mean, we have to admit though that we'll never get the weather that we had again. That weather was.
You may.
Yeah, yeah,
it'll
not
be hotter next year.
Statistically.
But you don't wanna do Mother's Day weekend next year?
No, we probably will.
Oh. Honestly, you were wondering, saying you didn't know about the date, so I just wondered.
Oh, I really am saying, I don't wanna think about our fair until near January next year. It was a little all consuming for us.
Maybe you can play on the Mother Earth Fair. Mother Earth.
That's cute.
Call it Mother Earth.
I like that, that's very.
I like that a
that's very
lot,
cute.
that's so nice.
Yeah, we didn't really focus on mothers at all.
I love that.
It could.
How did you feel about the way the sign distribution went? And we had like the Excel spreadsheet, and we like said, we're gonna, I called dibs on putting a sign at these 4 places, and we came.
The lawn signs or the posters and the
The
poplars?
posters and the little hand like flyers or brochures.
I didn't love how it went down, but in the end, the bottom line was there wasn't a pile at my office anymore, which to me meant that they were somewhere. Whether they're in people's cars and, and people didn't put them out, I don't know. But I saw them a lot of places. I mean, Brad kind of took the lion's share of those.
I try to get as much as possible.
Yeah. I thought it was okay, I mean, I don't know, people didn't necessarily report back if they took some, somewhere that they weren't on the list, and I'm not sure a lot of people went back and updated their list, so it wasn't super, but like, again, the worst thing is to have something left over and not distributed, and they were distributed.
Was the list comprehensive in the fact that you didn't want them in other places that weren't on the list?
No, I could care less where they are.
Okay, cool.
I could care less where they are, but if you put them somewhere, it's valuable to update the list so that someone else isn't like, oh, I went all the way to X place and someone had already gone there, it was on the list, and no one updated the list, that kind.
Wonder if next year we can utilize the bands to, yeah, because they have zero interest to promote.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Clearwater and the bands did their own promotion. It was, I don't know if you could sense it. And we tried not to let people sense it, but it was sort of like 2 simultaneous events happening at the same time. It was sort of like the Clearwater event and our event. They had their own budget, they dealt with their own stuff. But we tried to make it seamless. And the reality is, they wouldn't have had what they had without all of the everything we put together, because we managed every single other thing besides entertainment, and without the entertainment, we wouldn't have had a lot of what we had, so, like, it was a collaboration, but there was a lot of, like, even the marketing sort of happened separately, and, like, it was a little bit strange,
But
but
it all came together.
But it all-
I think experientially, like I was aware of that, but I think experientially the event felt great.
okay, that's good. Great, any other final comments about the Earth Fair?
I remember a
Okay.
few of mine.
Great,
I noticed a lot of the existing trash cans were full of recycling. And I went through and tried to pick it up and put it in a bag. And I forgot to mention it to somebody, so I feel like that bag might have been thrown out.
okay.
But, my own fault on that one. So maybe that might, actually, that was my next thought. Maybe if someone were to take it on and collect all of that and say, these are the portions of the current waste stream that is recyclable, compostable, and show it as a preview.
So in the beginning, I thought that we grabbed all the garbage cans that were existing and moved them behind the
A
back.
bunch, the Marina ones, might have been locked. So I put can recycling next to all the ones
Oh,
that weren't really manned as a last ditch effort.
yeah, okay, good to know. Any other comments, Greg?
I think just more food vendors, but we discussed that and, wasn't really in our control, so.
Okay. Well, thanks, everyone, that was a good wrap up. If you think of anything else when you're shower or whatever else you think of things, send them to me. All right, so moving on to, clean electricity stuff. Our buildings projects, we haven't moved forward with this is solarized buildings yet. With the combination of the Earth Fair and then the launch of organics, which has been all consuming also, basically since January, I feel like Ellie and I have done nothing else. Ellie's been teaching every day, so, once organics is actually launched, and I'll get to that in a little bit, we're gonna move forward more on some of the local buildings work, but CCA is moving forward, we're still waiting on the Public Service Commission to finalize and approve the implementation plan. That is still actually out for public comment, so it's not that the PSC is not doing something, it's still out for public comment until the next month. And in the meantime, I know our CCA folks are hiring local staff, so if anyone knows anyone who's looking for a position, they are hiring folks to be local coordinators for CCA, community coordinators.
Let's pay well.
And they-
They babysit.
CCA is community choice aggregation. That is where the municipality, the city of Kingston, basically becomes the supplier of the energy for the municipality. And we're procuring green energy, and with bulk supply of green energy, but also local production. So, and energy efficiency, so it's a whole system. Municipality has to adopt, become a CCA community. We have done that, and then we hire an administrator. The administrator needs to get approvals, and our administrator is in energy transition. And so they're working through all the logistics of it. Any green jobs or workforce opportunity or education things that people wanna?
Going back to the renewable
Oh,
energy,
okay.
did you get for the Annie Center, did you get any feedback or closure on the weird building?
That's an Ally question.
I have been attempting to get closure on the weird billing thing, and I am jumping through hoops with Central Hudson. The most recent update is I called them and, requested some information, and they were like, we're gonna forward your request to the solar department and they'll get back to you in 7 to 10 business days. So the solar department seems to be maybe moving a little bit slower than the general health line.
The mayor asked about it.
That was a good question.
Yeah, it's I did call them and I spoke to a general health person who said, the reason you're getting hit with these fees is because you're in a CCA. And then I was like, well, I don't think we're in a CCA. And she was like, no, you're in a CCA. And I was like, well, maybe something happened that I didn't know about because I wasn't paying attention. So, but I didn't, we are not in a CCA.
And that should, also, that shouldn't have anything to do with it, because a CCA provides a supply of electricity. It has nothing to do with you generating from your own facilities. Those
Yeah.
things don't even conflict, so her
Yeah.
saying that is very weird.
It was a weird conversation. I think she was trying to help and she
That's why.
maybe didn't know fully like what was
Yeah.
going on. She was just attempting, which I appreciated, but
Sure.
she definitely did not give me accurate information.
Yeah, those aren't even the same part of the bill.
Yeah, so, no updates.
That sucks.
No, actually, I wouldn't say no updates, I would say no closure.
Yeah.
No closure.
There's still bills in the positive.
There are still bills, we're still being charged full price for our electricity. Yeah, that's what the solar people are supposed to call me back about. And that was about a week ago that I put in that request, so it's been almost 7 to 10 business days, so we'll see.
The good news is if they have made an error, which I think they have, and haven't been counting your credits, which I think they haven't, once that gets straightened out, they should just dump all those credits.
Hopefully.
That's what it should.
Yeah.
Do you guys have suggestions on what we should be doing?
I think I mean, you need to like get actual information from Central Hudson.
Yeah.
What did Simon tell you?
Some comments said that the system is online and the reason why we're getting bills is because the system isn't producing enough electricity to cover our entire electric use, and that we should start seeing dramatic decreases in our bills around springtime, like last month.
Should be okay.
Yeah, but that is not the case. I mean, I told them I'd hang on for a month and see what happens in the spring, and then the next bill came and we're still being charged. I checked the solar monitoring platform that we have.
Yeah,
I did the math, our system is overproducing.
yeah,
And
it should be overproduced.
It is overproducing by,
So it's
at least
measuring the
10%.
current and the production?
what was that?
It's measuring current and production?
Yes.
So then it's gotta be the Central Hudson meter isn't registering that production.
They've been actually checking on that. They've been doing a lot of estimates.
It sounds like
They're not
they're-
going, they're not even checking the right now, they're like skipping
I
months.
looked at it a few times and does it still show the same thing?
The meter
Yeah.
outside, I don't know, I haven't checked the
Metal
meter
box.
outside, but on our bills, it does say actual, it doesn't say estimated, it says actual. But
Doesn't matter.
does that mean that they're actually coming and looking at it? I don't know how they operate, so,
That sucks.
Melissa, you have something to add?
I was just gonna say, do you have like everything in an email that I could possibly forward to some contacts I have at Central Hudson?
yeah, I'll send you what I have.
Okay, send me what you have.
You can wrangle it all together.
I may be able to pass you up the food chain, but I'm not sure. I'm not making promises.
Okay.
And then the bill, I tried looking at that one email, I couldn't get a sense. Yeah. But there was like that one line item that says like 80 multiplier times an
Yes, yes. There's like these multipliers and there's these weird like community distributed generation fees. And then we forwarded, I sent one of the bills to one of the people who's working with our CCA. I don't know how he's directly involved, but he is. And he said that we should not be being charged for community distributed generation credits.
That would be if you were on community solar.
But he
Right.
did say that some of our accounts were being put on community solar, right?
Well, if that account isn't.
But that account shouldn't be because we have a massive solar array.
Right, and you're not allowed that.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a big mess and
Yeah.
I need to hear back from someone.
Yeah, I think you'll have to.
That sucks.
Could I suggest maybe an option to maybe show that the meter isn't working, maybe hire an electrician to see what is being actually physically produced during the day,
Yeah,
and maybe check it once an hour for a day when it's sunny, something like that.
you mean
It's
the
a-
electricity meter that you and I looked at that one time?
Add another one, so you can
Okay.
have a CT, they call it, around each phase on, what's it, 3-phase? I believe, 208 volt. And so if you measure each phase, you can figure out, the current and the power and then the production. And you know, if an electrician charged $500, that might be worthwhile, even though you're gonna pay another equivalent month of electricity to have that done. You would maybe have some solid evidence. Because I thought the evidence, you know, the comparison I was doing was pretty solid.
Same idea, but.
I feel like Suncom should come in and do that for us.
Right,
You should give them some heat, I think.
Yeah.
I would make it a problem for some company. Yes, they should be,
they should
Yeah, I
figure this
agree.
out.
yes, this shouldn't be your fault. I would light them up on that, actually.
Okay, my problem is that my main contact there is not that person anymore, but that shouldn't be an issue. That's not. I was working with, oh my gosh,
Was it somebody from sales?
yeah,
Let me find the person I was talking to. I think I only have the first name because called, but.
Do you have any payment left that you can withhold?
no,
Bummer.
you know, no. So we've been working with Heath Galloway.
Okay.
And
Is he a sales associate?
Sam Wilo was my actual person that was doing all my coordination, and he is not my person anymore. And then someone named Tavit.
David, he's higher up. That's interesting. What was David doing in the conversation? Was he just CC, because he usually works in marketing.
No, I have 6 emails. You calling? Oh, Tavit is the person who did a video of me after the fact.
That makes sense,
Nothing
yeah.
to do.
I was gonna say, why was David? Okay, great. So we could, if you want, I'll stay a little bit after and we can talk about just this uncommon side of things a little more in case I can help, I might be able to.
All right.
I'd like to think that they will do anything on this.
Okay, let's do that. Perfect. Anything else on that topic?
That's obnoxious, I'm sorry, we're dealing with it.
Better ask someone else, I guess.
What's the timeline for CCA at this point?
So once we get the approvals from the PSC, probably, putting out a bid for, supply this fall. And getting folks online by this fall or the spring.
I haven't seen much publicity around it.
No, so there's gonna be like a 3-month. There has to be at least a 2-month, like, very hard outreach push through the PFC order. We're gonna do a 3-month push, but we can't really just do that until, like, we're online with the PFC, so. So right now, unfortunately, we haven't been doing a lot of outreach because it's not concrete something for us to be outreaching about. That'd be complicated at this point. What's on that?
Does the billing issue affect more than just the Murphy Center?
No,
No.
Not that I'm
Okay.
aware of.
So it's just, how many bills do you get there?
we just get one natural
Just
gas
one
and
bill.
one electricity.
Okay.
The natural gas is not impacted.
Yeah, right, that's, yeah, separate.
Could you reach out to OGS or New York State for any assistance? If they have contracts with Suncommon for performance?
I want to stay as local as I can with the issue. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
and frankly, as far as I'm concerned, some company should be figuring out the issue for us. But, it's taken us a while to even figure out that there is an issue and what the issue is.
They should have alerted you that there was an issue.
Yeah,
That's what is supposed to happen
okay,
in these situations.
okay.
Who, Suncommon or Central Hudson?
Suncommon should have alerted them that there is an issue with the array or with the billing.
So Suncommon has access to our bills?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, no, I don't know if they I thought you were telling me, I was, I think it's all your.
Oh, no, I'm.
Whether they have access to bills, they do have all of your account information, so they could be checking. I don't think that's. The thing that they should have noticed is like if there's a problem with the array underproducing, which it also sounds like they're telling you is a problem, they should have come to you with that.
They said that the array was gonna be underproducing during the winter. When I spoke to them on the phone, I said, well, the array came on in August. And I mean, September is still a pretty sunny month.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the dead of the winter. And they're like, oh, no, you're not gonna be producing your max capacity until the spring. Didn't sound right to me. I said, okay, I'll give it a month, come back to it. And, spring came and the problem did not fix itself, so
Yeah.
that was not accurate information from them.
Yeah, let's talk more about that.
And you did read the meter yourself and check it against the bill?
A couple months ago, Brad and I looked at the
Right, okay,
meter. I don't
okay.
think we checked it against the bill, though. I don't know if I'm doing that.
It's not a straightforward residential meter,
Yeah.
and I wasn't about to go touch
Okay,
it.
all right. Somebody from Central Hudson sort of had told me unofficially some information that, about how they, when you get an actual read, it's not, it's not, which probably everybody knows, it's not, they're not actually reading all meters. But if it's a smart meter, the smart meters aren't very smart. They have to be close before they can, click and get the reading. It isn't going to the central office and, they have it all there and they send you a bill. So somebody physically is going out, typically they're doing a drive-by. And,
And what,
if
reading
it-
from the truck?
if it happens to be
Squinting their
bad traffic or something that day and they can't get, within
That's just great.
that's just-
There's lots of trucks in the lot right now,
Yeah,
people go and ask.
they make up numbers.
They're not gonna be right here.
Oh, maybe we should go down the door. Let me go
I
ask.
want to get the staff person fired.
That's an
They were
interesting
telling me
point.
this, yeah.
With the telemetry reading, the metal box might be preventing that signal
Yeah,
because it's entirely enclosed and it's electrically conductive around the whole thing, so it's essentially a Faraday cage. So any remote meeting might not,
Is the Wixon comment on that?
should.
Are we saying that, like, hypothetically, they're just making up numbers?
Yeah.
yeah.
Possibly
Wow.
estimates from the previous.
Melissa, you have something?
Yeah, they make up numbers and also I just know from the customer side, their new system, they weren't really prepared when they got it and like it would be months before new account numbers were assigned. Like it's a mess. It's a really big mess. They actually are getting like sued a lot because of it. And yeah. Working there on the mapping side, I know that it could just be your account numbers off by one digit, or there's something wrong with the mainframe system. There could be like so many just admin clerical issues happening. That's why I'm gonna try to see what I could do to get someone to look at it, because it could just be a clerical issue.
Thank you. All right. Anything else on this? Okay, anything on green jobs or education workforce things?
The city's office of, I think, education and training and workforce development, sort of, I don't know how they organize it, task force, something, is having a workforce summit in 2 weeks, I
The county?
think. The county, yeah. What did I say?
City.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, no, it's the county level, but it'll be in Kingston in like 2 weeks, and they are doing, I think, for the first time, some clean energy content at that. So I'm gonna be attending and I can report back to the group how that goes. Great. Hopefully more to come.
Date on this?
Yes, but I left my phone
Oh.
now. I think it's June 14th, it's thereabout. If you send me an email, I'll make sure to get you the actual details.
It's June 15th because I'm looking at Cal's calendar right now.
Thank you. I forgot you could do that. It's like 8 in the morning till noon or something. 8:30.
Any other education or workforce things? Any update on the city fleet, Ellie?
We are going to be putting in a mini bid for a plug-in stand, hopefully soon. No information about, how successful that's going to be. It's been kind of difficult to procure, so we'll see. The Parks Department needs a passenger van as well. And there was interest in getting an electric one, a plug-in one. It's very limited options for a plug-in passenger van on the market. I got some quotes a few months back. They were all roughly $100,000, a little bit more, a little bit less, but definitely out of our budget. And because of that, the Parks Department moved forward with a mini bid for a gas passenger van, which was also unsuccessful. So could speak to, larger market issues, but still very difficult to procure. No, letting up on that right yet.
EV infrastructure, I think I mentioned last time, the Prince Street parking lot is now online and Forsyth is under construction, so it should be getting trenched. If it's not already happening, hopefully it's happening soon. And that will be the next one that will be online, which will be the lower lot in Forsyth Park. Any updates on zoning?
Yes, it changes by the minute. Yeah. And as of, well, it's 7 o'clock, Laws and Rules is gonna be meeting and discussing it a bit. It's a long email, so I'll just cut it shorter. Kingston Forward, this is from Andrea, from, the Common Council President. There will be no votes tonight, including regarding secret. That would be, they have the environmental review has been released, last week sometime. And the actual Form 5, version 4.0 of the form-based code released at the same time. So there's no vote on either one. Amy Groves from Dover Coal is expected to be there. And they've been working on, well, one of the issues that came up, I'm going into that long email, was that on large site plan reviews, the version 3.0 called for public hearings. Version 4.0 calls for discretionary public hearings, which a number of people felt that wasn't quite what was intended. So that's a point of dispute. The parking remains a point of discussion in affordable, and ADUs and affordable housing. So I think we have those three issues. One of them is administrative, and the other two are actually in code. So to be continued at 7 o'clock.
Are you gonna stay for the meeting?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Forward to seeing how it goes.
It's happening in this room.
Yep, we're going.
Sorry.
Bike share program. So the Common Council Laws and Rules Committee advanced a legislation on bike share that has language in it that was added after discussions. I'm being very measured with my words right now. After internal discussions.
That's from the same.
Oh, yeah, I noticed.
Okay.
The new legislation has stipulations in it that are extremely limiting, including that a bike share company would be able to come in, but the maximum number of bikes would be 5.
Wow. Groundbreaking.
Per station or total?
Total.
That's it.
The whole
Did you
system.
just say 5?
5.
Where did that number come from?
So,
I followed it, but I don't.
so the last thing that happened was I convened a meeting where I invited anyone who wanted to talk about bike stuff to come and review the bike share. We met with Alderman Oliveri, who said he was going to take over the legislation from as a laws and rules representative. And a number of us sat at a table and discussed the legislation. It was never mentioned anything about 5 or several other things that were listed in there. We left the meeting under the impression that the trajectory of what was going to happen was different than what did happen. Changes were made, and it was brought to Laws and Rules. I did not attend the Laws and Rules meeting, I was out of town. They adopted it. And I will state, and I see that it is for the record, that I have advocated to the mayor that he should veto it if it goes beyond the, to full common council. There was word out today, however, that it has been pulled by the common council president from the common council meeting. So it's going back to Laws and Rules. I have also been directed, as has my office, that we are not working on it anymore.
Okay,
So
so it's all laws and rules now?
Yep.
Okay. Are those meetings open to the public?
yes, they are.
Interesting.
Who authored this piece of legislation I was reading?
That is a complicated answer. There are many authors to what you're reading.
Okay.
And they include Ellie, me, Corp Counsel, Michael Oliveri, people from John Rosebolin, a number of different people have had their hands on it. The latest version with the red line and the latest version is Michael Oliveri.
It comes from a template from Cornell Law, though.
Oh,
That was where the original piece came from.
and I didn't get past, I didn't get past Article 1 on bicycles because I got so caught up. Is this meant to be new law to replace what currently exists?
Yes.
Regarding bicycles? Because so far I couldn't see anything new to what already exists.
It
Why
is,
are we, like, restate what's already in law?
that is a comment that you are welcome to make.
Cool, so I should stay after 7.
Well, no, because tonight they're not meeting, Laws and Rules,
Oh, right,
the meeting
it's-
tonight is nothing else on the agenda except for zoning. But if you feel strongly or unstrongly or have any feelings whatsoever about bike share and like to speak to your alderperson, I encourage you to do so. You can go to the Laws and Rules meeting, which is, Kevin can look up the date, I don't know when it is.
Next one?
Yes,
Okay.
but it has been taken out of our office.
So what would we say as advocates to our older people?
Well, and I have stated this to folks, there is no, just specifically the 5 part, there would be no way that we could, there's no economic model that would possibly work out. And so that effectively would say, we have a bike share law on the legislation, but there's nothing to do with it. It would just be like a lame duck legislation. There's no business that would say, oh, 5, sure, let's do 5.
Is there a number or is it like we should just not stipulate a number?
I don't think we had a number
We
in there
did not have a number
because we are
for
not,
that exact reason.
yeah.
And the number was put in.
There's also, and I'll get to you in just one second, there's also a stipulation in there that the common council would have oversight over the contract with the bike share system. There is no precedent for the common council having oversight over contracts. That's an executive branch action. The common council doesn't deal with contracts. So either way, Melissa, you have something?
Oh, I'm just trying to understand the number part. Like, do you think it was like too many hands in the pot editing that there was a typo that happened, or it was deliberately done to kind of like block any actual companies coming in if they were to pass? Or are you not at liberty to say?
I'm not gonna speculate or state what I think, how I think it got there. I, again, didn't attend the meeting. I have not watched the meeting. I don't know if there was discussion about it. I don't know if there was pushback about it. All I know is that it made through Laws and Rules with people knowing what was in the legislation or not and just voting. I don't know. I don't know how 5 was agreed upon or arrived at. But 5 isn't the only issue with the whole thing. And there's been a lot of discussion from other groups as well, that there's a lot of things, several things in there that people aren't happy with, so. I am happy that they withdrew this from moving forward, but I don't know how it will move forward. I don't know what the progression is going to be moving forward. I just know that it's not going to be managed through the sustainability office. Which means that we will not be spending ARPA money on it either.
Oh,
New
I
information.
didn't know that.
You didn't know that.
I did?
Did not.
I did not know that.
Tell
Okay,
me those would be.
all right.
That's too bad.
It's too bad.
So does it no longer have a funding stream either because of that change?
It has a funding stream in the ARPA plan.
But if it's been, sorry,
If, so the ARPA money has to be allocated by the end of 2024, which means by December 31st, 2024, there needs to be a PO written for every dollar of the $18 million. So we know where it's going to be spent. I have been directed that we are not working on this in 2023 or possibly anymore. So who knows if the money will be getting reallocated.
I see. So it would have to have come out of your office to get the ARPA funds?
No, somebody else could be directed to work.
I see, but because the timeline has shifted, is that why? What's the reason that it wouldn't be?
Wouldn't be coming out of ARPA?
Yeah.
Uh,
I missed it.
I guess that was a blanket statement, there was no overgeneralization that I shouldn't have stated.
No, it's fine.
It's
I'm
not
trying to understand.
likely that we're going to be spending the ARPA money in 2023.
I see, okay, got it. That makes sense.
So if it's not our office, whose office? Is there one?
That is a higher level than me decision.
Fair enough.
The
Dollar?
next laws and rules is after tonight is June 21st. And that's the same day as Live Well, if anybody goes to that. Oh, one thing I left out on the zoning is they were supposed to be doing a type 2 CEQA list. Type 2 would be something that has no real environmental impact to sort of expedite, project reviews. And I don't think it's in the zoning, the current version. So that's another thing that we'll have to, that's on an open question mark list.
Anything else on sustainable mobility or land use? Managing resources sustainably, hopefully you will have all received one of these in the mail. If you have not, you want to know about it, we have launched Kingston Organics, which is phase 1 of our food scrap collection program. It is free, it is voluntary, and you can register now. And you would be joining 285 people that have already registered.
That's pretty good.
See,
Is it?
in the first 2
Sounds
weeks.
pretty good.
It's pretty amazing.
Can I look at that again?
Yeah, could I get one?
I'm not in city, that's what I do.
If you are not in the city of Kingston, you are not able to import. Do not import.
We have our own things.
So if you want to learn all about it, a very succinct webinar was done on last week, and if you go to this QR code, you can watch the webinar and learn all about it. Also, the registration is online here, and you choose one of the 11 sites, and that is where you will drop off. We're not providing totes. You bring your own food, grab it, and the locations will be locked. We'll be getting a code to tell you how to get into the location so that people aren't walking by and putting contamination into it. They're all in parks, and the actual collection will start in the beginning of July.
Where does the food, where do the scraps go?
So our feasibility study, which is also up online now, you can check it out, determined that we don't have the feasibility of managing the compost on our own. Although we are a hauler, we have our own sanitation department, we cannot manage it spatially or personnel wise. And so we are bringing it to Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency. And that is where we bring all of our recycling and our trash. It's 5 miles away. And they have a large system of aerated static piles, which is a method of composting on a commercial level. And so they take all food and they take yard waste and they take animal carcasses, and they process it all there on site and they bag it and sell it.
Cool, so, can people drop off their food scraps inside compostable bags?
We are not accepting bags. Upright is not accepting bags. So you can bring your things in a bag, you'll have to dump it out of the bag and throw away the bag or reuse the bag. We will not accept the bag. Unfortunately, so the response has been fantastic. So 288 people the last time I checked, and people are registering all the time. Right now, that equates to 122 separate families, so 288 individuals. The average family has 2.36 people in it that is signing up. 48% of them don't currently compost, so 52% currently compost, and they're choosing to instead put their stuff in their car and drive it someplace else and compost someplace else. Interesting to me. And of the 288 people that have registered, a quarter of everyone wants to go to one site, which is Forsyth.
Well.
And so, but we've got locations at the Andy Murphy Center, Barman Park, Block Park, Hodge Center, Forsyth Park, Hasbrook Park, Hutton Park, Warren Park, Kingston Park, Roundup Community Gardens, and the Roundup Neighborhood Center.
That's really impressive.
And 8 beautiful buildings. So in July, we'll also be starting to compost at 3 community centers, Andy Murphy, Roundup Center, and Hodge. The 3 fire stations, Uptown, Midtown, Uptown Central and Downtown. City Hall, this building, and at the police station. So 19 locations starting in July.
That's exciting.
Spread the word. Spread the word. Registration will be ongoing forever and ever and ever. And I will also be applying for a consolidated funding application grant to fund phases 2 and 3, and that is going to get submitted in the end of July. So I'll be coming back in June to this commission to get a letter of support to fund phases 2 and 3, which will be collecting all commercial and all residential curbside, driving door to door, think about. So that's Kingston Organics. Anyone have any other old business? All right, new business. I added resiliency initiatives, which I think should be a regular on our old business. But I just wanted to give you 2 updates on 2 things. One is Kingston Point Park improvements phase 2. So we had Kingston Point Park improvements phase 1, which was elevating a parking lot, adding a soccer field, and that's all complete. Next north of Delaware Avenue, and of course, Kingston Point Park. And now phase 2 is everything south of Delaware Avenue, which is going to be elevating the parking lot and turning the other half of the parking lot that's underwater into a wetland. And also making a formal trail from Rotary Park over to North Street. I have $750,000 to do this as a grant, and the bids are out to the world for design and engineering firms to put in their bids, and those are due on the 7th. So I am looking for folks who want to help. If you are interested in reviewing bids, looking at bids and helping us judge them, I will have a rubric and I will be sharing those with a certain group of people, but we will be reviewing those through the rubric and then needing to judge them all together. It is not a lowest bid choice, we're doing based on the proposal itself. So that will choose the engineering firm that will design the system and then we'll go out to bid for construction next year. Brad, you're interested?
Yes, please.
You said you're getting bids back on the 7th.
Yes. So the bid review is going to be probably pretty close thereafter. And then we'll have to determine if we need to do interviews, things like that. And then I wrote flooding on here. I don't know if folks are aware, but we, the city, with me as the lead, maintain an ongoing outreach with a growing set of people that probably about 30 or 40 people, where I monitor 2 flood storm water gauges on the Hudson River. And when they reach a certain height, or prediction is, forecast is of a certain height, then I send out a warning to this list. And we have thresholds for when it reaches a certain prediction of a certain height, that I know that when it reaches this height, that it will cover this strand. When it reaches this height, it's gonna go into Old Savannah. When it reaches this height, it's gonna go to wastewater treatment plant. When it reaches this height, it's gonna be over Delaware Avenue, those kind of things. So on the list are people like every business downtown that is close to touching the water, including the Maritime Museum, Old Savannah, the Hudson River Cruises, the Marina, all those folks. But also folks in Hudson, Ella, and Ulster County Emergency Management, fire department, our fire department, police department, Department of Public Works, all these different folks. I just want to let you guys know that this is happening. And I'm also working with the county. We did some mapping to ground truth it, because right now the data points that I'm using are at Maury Point and Poughkeepsie. And there's also one at Turkey Point. And so we don't have a storm gauge here anymore in Kingston. There used to be one on the Rondout. So we used to be able to have instant accurate data, but now we're basing it on data that's further away, which means that like things could be different, although North Point is not very far from here. The timing is obviously different and flooding could be different. So we did some ground truthing to understand like exactly when it gets to this point, I know what this level is, and the Maritime Museum needs to take this action, those kind of things. So the first time we were able to really put this into action was for the December 23rd storm that happened downtown. There was an incredible amount of flooding that happened. And because of the mobilization that I coordinated, we were able to save from further destruction, the Maritime Museum and Old Savannah. They both added protections, which included a lot of sandbags and elevation things and lots of other preparation. Still, all in all, the Maritime Museum still ended up the whole like $30,000 and having to do an incredible amount of repair. But Old Savannah was back online by 5 p.m. and they were vacuuming the water out and sucking things out and getting back online. So just want to let you know we got a lot of focus on that going on downtown. The most vulnerable location is actually the Maritime Museum. It's like the lowest spot and they have the most in the way. The most vulnerable location as an asset is the wastewater treatment plant. It's the most, could lead to the most destruction. But just want to give you all a heads up that's happening. If you haven't been added to the list, get added to the list. And actually, 10 to 10, there's flooding predicted for this Sunday. So people are going to be getting it caught up soon.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are those water monitors, does the Coast Guard do those? Who does those?
The USGS.
USGS, and they like just remove the one that's.
Yes, because it costs like
It's around 20 grand.
per year.
You get a donor.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
20 grand per.
I
So
worked
if someone
on
was
that
like,
for a
I'm
while.
throwing $20,000 into this, it would be fine, but without that, they can't like just have that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, if it was like a one-time deal or like,
$20,000 subscription is.
yeah.
a little rough.
Yeah, Riverkeeper worked on it too and came up with empty handed.
Yeah, okay. That sounds really useful.
All right, so any announcements, communications, events, or updates that people want to share? Any updates from the Climate Smart, Ulster County Climate Smart Committee?
I think the main thing is people are gearing up for a fair and the Ulster County Fair. And it would be great to have volunteers. So if anybody's interested in being part of that effort, it's the first week of August and I think starting on Tuesday, right, Melissa?
I'll get the date in a sec, but yeah, I always tell people about this very last minute, so thanks for bringing it up. They have a climate booth for climate smart communities. I think Serena volunteered last year or the year before, but let me get everyone the exact date upcoming. Ulster County Fair is August 1st through 6th. And so there's the Climate Smart booth, and then there's also a Climate Row booth that we have next to it with some environmental nonprofits across the Hudson Valley. So I'll be joining some planning calls soon for both of those efforts, and then yeah, we'll have more info on sign up and shifts and all that. But you get points for Climate Smart if you do it, so we should do it.
Okay, keep us posted on that. Anything else on Ulster County Climate Smart Committee? Okay, any other announcements, events, or updates?
There's something else I forwarded along to the commission from Bike Friendly Kingston about a gear giveaway on June 7th. I just wanted to flag that as well. It's at Holy Cross Church, and they're giving away lights and vests and ankle straps, a lot of equipment. It's not a repair event, it's just a accessories giveaway, but you'll have all the info in your email.
Thanks.
Any other announcements? Social media postings, were you able to connect with Summer for posting the organics thing?
Yes, I posted organics up there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think we even got a share and a few likes. That was or at least engagement. So that post was very engaged. Like people viewed it and clicked it. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I saw your face. Like, what does that mean?
Any other social media postings? I don't know. You have anything else we should be posting?
I mean, I can post about the bike equipment giveaway. I don't have anything else in my docket right now. I think I already did a recap about the fair, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. I've been sharing stuff from the city, not making much of our own posts lately, but
Okay. All right, so our next meeting is the 28th. Will we have quorum? For anyone who knows they cannot make it? I cannot make it. Is there anyone else who cannot make it?
The 28th of
28th of June, no better.
Okay, good.
Oh.
Cool. It's a fabulous city.
Two that won't be here. Anyone else that won't be here? Still going quorum if everyone else is coming.
Could I ask Melissa to look at my calendar?
oh, you want me to check your calendar? Okay.
You don't have to, I was joking. I mean, you can.
Oh, it's the Ulster County Environmental Meeting that day, but I know you don't go to that, but that is also that day.
I blocked it off, but I get conflicts too often, so I'm going to this instead.
All right,
Thank you.
everyone else is good?
Thanks, so.
All right, if that is the case. If there's no other business, then we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wait, I'm sorry. We're doing it on the 28th?
Yes.
28.
Okay. Did you say you're not going to be there? Who said they couldn't be there?
Beth is not gonna be there and Kai is not gonna be there.
Oh, okay. I thought you, Julie, said you were not going to be there.
I will be there.
Okay.
I'll be there. All right. Anyone else? Now we need a motion to adjourn. So moved. Karen, is there a second?
Second.
Kevin? Anyone opposed? I mean, all in favor? 6:25. Thank you, everyone.